Hi guys, I just thought I'd do a quick update. As some of you probably realise, I've been really ill lately. It's a rare day that I actually get out of bed. I have done that today, but yeah, I just wanted to recap on some of the stuff that's been happening and happened over the last few years. Many of you will realise that we were actually, us, the Responsible Campers Association, has actually now become quite a well-known advocate and a leader in advocacy for freedom camping in New Zealand. That's been a hard road to establish, especially in opposition to the likes of the NZMCA that many considered was the lifeblood of freedom camping in New Zealand. More recent events has actually seen the truth of that be exposed, and NZMCA basically falling from grace. Back in submissions to NASA's bill, RCAI had submitted that anything that had a smell of NZMCA about it was not going to succeed. And as a result of what we claim had been misrepresentations around the certified self-containment program that NZMCA developed and had promoted for years, that was thrown in the trash bin. We had always said that there was no legal ability to enforce a voluntary New Zealand standard. And that was actually advice that was given to Responsible Campers Association by Standards New Zealand themselves, because there was a whole heap of requirements before any voluntary standard or any standard full stop can be legally enforced. The self-containment standard was only ever voluntary. It had none of the requirements to have any legal ability. And as a result of that, that whole program, as advanced by NZMCA over decades, was thrown in the trash bin. And it has been thrown in the trash bin. Make no mistake about it. It's been replaced by technical regulations. Now, those technical regulations set out a number of mandatory requirements, and in particular in the legislation, chapters 16 to 20, set out mandatory requirements of in order to gain green certification. Now, these things are actually mandatory. They're not open to inspection discretion or anything else. They are the bare minimum requirements required to be certified self-contained. Section 17 specifically deals with porta potties, toilets, and the big issue around portable toilets, which of course is what the whole legislation was aimed at stopping, was the use of portable toilets, based on assumptions and allegations being made by the promoters of certified self-containment that the non-use of those toilets meant people were using roadsides and bushes. There's no evidence that actually even suggests that freedom campers are any more to blame for roadside or bush defecation than any other traveller on New Zealand roads. None at all. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but there's nothing that suggests that freedom campers are a bigger part of the problem than anyone else. In fact, often one would suggest, as I said to the select committee, that freedom campers are the least likely group to have to defecate on the side of the road, because most have toilets on board. And if they haven't and get caught short, then they understand. Real freedom campers understand the need to bury it. Okay. Now, look, people will be aware that NZMCA actually gaslit all the lobbying to strengthen the legislative defence for defecation in public. Meantime, now NZMCA are probably the biggest issuer of non-compliant green certifications, 2 portable toilets. This week, Plumbers, Gas Fitters and Drain Layers Board has actually put out guidelines around composting toilets and how they comply and why they comply. One of the requirements that they have actually stated in requirements for a composting toilet is that the base is fixed to the vehicle and is not removable in order to empty human waste. And of course, that is the exact design of what a portable toilet is, and therefore is not compliant. every requirement written in the legislation to do with toilets is specifically written to prohibit the use of portable toilets. The base can't be removable to empty human waste. Is only one of them. Toilets are not allowed to be modified. They have to be installed as designed and specified. The toilet's not designed to be installed it can't be. If it was designed to be installed, the manufacturer would supply the little notches for the little holes to screw the base to the floor and everything else. Porta potties don't have any of that. Instead, those compliant unlawful brackets are relying on the handle. You know the handle that makes the porta potty portable? They're relying on that to attach a bracket to claim it then becomes compliant. Seriously, people? You know, these people have cheated the legislation by doing these brackets and certifying these brackets. Right? Now, that matter's ongoing, very, very much ongoing, and it's now with the Ombudsman. All right? You have to be very, very careful. If you buy a vehicle that has a green certification and a portable toilet, that certification can be revoked. It is provided for in legislation. Are you better to go and spend all this money on a cheap bracket, which to get a green certification that may get revoked, or are you better to go out and spend just under $400 and buy the likes of a Black Moa toilet or a Genola three-way toilet that is actually compliant with the rules? Think about it. What are you better to do? Go waste all your money. Go spend $120 on a certification and inspection and everything else and get a non-compliant certificate. But if that gets revoked, don't come crying to those who actually expose that those brackets were never compliant in the first place. It's a fact of life, you know. Right, into council bylaws. As I said, RCAI have become quite known as a leader in advocacy on freedom camping these days. We've had a number of submissions and a number of chats to staff at councils around freedom camping bylaws. The latest one, the Paurura one, there was considerable consultation with staff there around homeless issues and others. Likewise, the one before it was Taurua District Council, which their freedom camping bylaw is now up for public discussion. We've had a lot of pre-public consultation with Taurua. One of the big things with Taurua was to actually educate them on the difference between homeless people and freedom campers. Like many councils, Taurua have taken the approach that had originally been suggested by a legal firm that works for NZMCA, that anyone in a camper van or an RV is not homeless, that they live in the lifestyle. In actual fact, that's not compliant, that's not really aligned with the worldwide guidelines. Many people, particularly in the sort of housing crisis we got, where there's just not the affordable housing or even housing full stop in New Zealand for people to go to. And many people have actually used what money they have and actually gone out and bought a camper van on that. So at least they can live, be homeless, but actually live with a degree of dignity and security. And the more that actually happens, the more people are going to be reluctant to actually change from that. They're not freedom campers. Who through the homeless crisis have been forced to go and live in a caravan or an RV. And that's the way it is. As I said, RCAI, we've gone, we're pretty much low key at the moment. We're working on other stuff going on behind the scenes around responsible campers full stop and the accreditation program. However, we're still in negotiation, the long-term stuff of that. We continue to act, maybe not in official submissions and stuff, but we do talk to a number of council staff and that around issues, and we are being sought out constantly by council staff for our opinions as opposed to NZMCA. I think most council staff and that are actually sick of hearing NZMCA. They're realising that NZMCA have driven this narrative for years, but in actual fact, it hasn't solved anything. And that's the certified self-containment stuff. There's other stuff around what NZMCA have done in the past around, like they promoted for a considerable amount of time, they promoted designated campsites, which was actually in defiance of the intent of the Freedom Camping Act. And they've actually admitted that. There's actually on our Facebook group, Responsible Campers Association Facebook group, the ex-fake one that was set up by, I believe, members of staff of NZMCA initially. There's actually admissions by their policy manager that they had actually pushed for designated sites in defiance of what the legislation was all about. So there you go. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Councils are waking up. It's been a really slow journey. I mean, we've been around, 7-8 years now. I mean, it's there. We are becoming known. We have our knockers, so-called self-acclaimed experts or in freedom camping that generally gets things more often wrong than right, or those who have added a legislation-based auditor to their CVs recently, just out of the blue, just trying to give themselves some credibility. And I mean, I just laugh at these people. You know, they have no experience whatsoever, and yet here they are claiming they're legislation-based auditors, when in actual fact they're nothing of the sort. Anyway, that's me from today. Enjoy yourselves. It's mid-year. Oh, don't know who might doing any brass monkey type rallies or anything, but yeah, we're actually ourselves personally, we're involved in other stuff as well at the moment. So some big changes going on here. I'll get on top of my head on my health and stuff. So yeah, all good. Have a good time, people.